Hello, I'm Becky Dowd, and this is The Journey to Salvation. Join me as we walk alongside real people and hear the unique journeys that led them to faith in Jesus. My guest today is Tommy Swaite. Hello, Tommy.
Hello, Becky. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Thank you for coming in today to share your story with us.
Yes, ma'am.
And,
pleasure.
Yes, and I don't know you that well, Tommy. I know who you are, but our circles have never really crossed, so I'm hoping to get to know you a little bit better today. So can you just share some background information with us, maybe until you graduated high school?
Sure. So my childhood was chaotic. Come from a very poor background. Grew up in Vandale. Single mother. I had three older sisters, and you can just imagine the struggle with no dad, and I hadn't really ever been the slow type, as far as everything had to be fast for me. If things wasn't moving fast enough, I was bored, and little did I know that's a disorder now. But anyway, it was, nobody knew about it then. But if everything was chaotic, I was comfortable. Things like that. My mother, she was, of course, she was a single mother with three older girls and a little baby boy. But the one thing we did have was my mother. She just loved people. There wasn't a person that she met that she didn't, she would bring them in and feed them. Of course, we didn't have a lot, but she was a good woman. I miss her. And all of, my daddy was not there. He was a fugitive. And all I heard was these stories my whole entire life about this. And it was exciting.
To hear his story?
To hear, just stories, his story, and what he done, and how that, my whole family was. And it was like, that was really exciting. So I thought, well, that's what I want to I want to do. I want to follow those footsteps. And my mother, she would take us to church, and I remember in Vandale, they had Vandale Baptist. She would take us to the church sometimes, and Brother George Fink, do you remember him? Love that man. He was instrumental in my life. I was just a little guy, and he was such a big guy. And I remember we'd be at church, and he'd give the altar call. I didn't know what was going on, and man, I'd run down there, and
every Sunday.
No, it wouldn't be every Sunday. No, it wasn't. It was when we did go, but he would hug me and pat me on the rear end and send me on base, and then go back to your mama.
Yeah,
and those were the things that I remember. And life just, the more chaotic I was growing up. I'm going to say some sensitive things here. My sister had a boyfriend, and of course my mom didn't know about a lot of this. The first time I was ever introduced to any drug, I was 8. I started smoking weed when I was 8.
Oh, wow.
Terrible. I guess, at that point, that was the only male figure I had in my life, was my brother, well, soon would-be brother-in-law, but he wasn't then. And that just spiraled in and growed into a lifestyle that it was fast, it was exciting, constantly, doing things and
Did you continue smoking from age 8?
That, not consistently. I journeyed off into other things, drinking and things like that. Now that was a big thing. I began to do all of that stuff. And of course, after a while, you begin to, it was just, we would go get a cooler, sneak in somebody's cooler and get a beer or something like that. But little did I know that was cultivating something in me that, from a genetic standpoint, that I really didn't need to be into, because my whole family was alcoholics, and I didn't know that. And the next thing, before you know it, it's that's what I did all the time. Mm-hmm. And my mother, being single, she was limited. She had 3 teenage girls, and you can imagine having to deal with that. And then I just continued to do that, drinking and all of the stuff like that come along with it. But as far as, just a childhood, it was a good childhood. I mean, we didn't have anything, but what we did have, my mother loved us, and she showed that. I mean, there was no doubt that if you encountered my mother, you knew that she loved her kids. Mm-hmm. She did.
So did you go in and graduate high school?
So I was going to school, going to high school, and I was just, I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to have anything to do with school. And it just wasn't exciting enough for me. There was nothing going on, and I would go to school, and the subjects that I liked, I was okay with it. But for the most part, I didn't like school, didn't want nothing to do with it. Mm-hmm. And my mother would, it was just never one of those things that was important, I guess. And but I had 2 teachers that could see through what was going on. And I got the uttermost respect for both of them. And one of them was Miss Linda Brooks, and the other one was Miss Carolyn Imboden, Mr. Richard Imboden's wife, Miss Carolyn. I would go in and I would just sign my name and go through and check stuff and turn it over. And Miss Brooks would come over and she'd say, I see what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And she said, we're going to get this. And they spent time with me. And, of course, my grades went up. When my grades went up, I began to play sports. But we're still in high school. Mm-hmm. And we were doing things that high school kids do, which is different now than they were then.
Right.
But, yeah, but I was 13, and we had a family down the road that they were going to East Baptist Church. And they had a revival, and they had a big old church bus that they would pick kids up on, and we'd go down there. And we started going to church then, and Brother Larry Pettis, I don't know if you know him, he's from Forest City. He was the pastor there, and we had a revival going on. And I think I was 12 or 13 years old. And man, we were in the revival. I don't know what they was preaching on. I just don't know. But man, I know that I could not sit in that pew no longer. Mm. And I remember just running down there. And I knew at that point that I was saved. The next day we was drug in the baptistry and baptized, and I didn't even know what that was, you know. And so a couple months rocked on, and then I just fell through the cracks. I slid right back in the secular way of life and began just to live my own life. But I always knew there was a God. And so I was just an angry kid. My dad was gone. I wanted to be like him, and he'd done things that was, it's just when I was at odds with the authorities, the law, I was comfortable in that zone. If I was running from them, I was comfortable with that because I thought that was cool because that's what my daddy did. But that way of life winded me up. I was 16 years old, and I'd got in, and a part of my runaround and stuff was the aggression. I stayed in trouble, fighting all the time. And I remember when I was 16 years old, I spent 30 days in jail in Jackson County for beating a guy up in Newport at the age of 16 in jail. And I didn't think anything was wrong with that at all. I mean, I was just comfortable like that. So, it sounds outlandish, but it's crazy. It was a crazy life for me. Because when everything was chaotic, like I said, everything was chaotic, everything was comfortable to me. And that just followed me all the way through life. I mean, it's just, that's 13 years old, from 13 to up until I was 18. It's just that's what I done. I was still in high school, and I met this girl from Wynn. We dated for a while, and we were going to the same school, and it was my senior year. With the help of Miss Brooks and all of them, I mean, I'm second semester, I'm passing everything, I'm fixing to graduate. And I think, playing high school ball, and I think I've got it all figured out. And then, doing things that you shouldn't do as a teenager. I had a lot of time spent with my girlfriend alone. So next thing you know what happens. So we're expecting. I'm 18, 19 years old. I'm expecting a child. And I thought, well, I'm done with school. I'm fixing to go get a job. I'm going to do what's right. Which was fine for a while.
Because you were really close to graduating then.
I didn't even graduate. I just quit. I just quit.
But you thought you were doing the right thing by quitting and getting a job.
Right.
Yeah.
And by then, the addiction for drinking and things was full blown in. I mean, there wasn't no. It was just. Yeah, it was full blown. I mean, there was no turning back at that point. Now, what God did in my heart when I was 13 is what I was doing Did that make that of none effect? No, it didn't. Because I knew what he had done. Mm-hmm. There was no mentorship, no discipleship, anything like that. I didn't even know what baptism was. Mm-hmm. And, but, yeah, that was 18, something like that. And then we had our first child, and I thought, you know what, this is fantastic. And I was working in Memphis, and we were doing good. But working, coming home, there was too much spare time in between that. It just wasn't enough. And I began to spiral into addiction. Mm-hmm. And so it created a lot of problems. I was in and out of jail, just doing things, just stupid stuff. Living my own life is basically what I was doing. Didn't care what type of destruction come along, because it's all chaotic. It's where I was comfortable there.
So you were making those chaotic times to feel good.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I was comfortable with that. It didn't bother me at all. Mm-hmm. It didn't bother me at all to be locked up in and out of jail all the time. For some people, it's like, oh, I don't know,
Yeah.
I was comfortable there.
That is odd that you found more comfort in jail than being out of jail.
Well, and that right there is one of the things that we will talk about after 18.
Okay.
Because there was a purpose for all that. There was a purpose for that. In and out of jail all my life, but guess what? The only time that I would ever call on God is when I was locked up.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is?
Because he knew exactly where I was going to be broken at.
Yeah.
Now, is there two salvation events in my story? No, there's not. There's one salvation event.
At 13.
I believe your salvation is instant. Mm-hmm. But your journey, your walk and your growth is a lifelong journey. And we can be born again and walk around and feel like we're disconnected and miserable.
Well, because when you were saved, that's something that the Lord did. Mm-hmm. That wasn't something, the Holy Spirit drew you to Him. That was His doing.
Yes.
And we still have our sinful nature. And if we're feeding into our sinful nature, then we're going to be acting in those ways, And that sounds like that's probably what you were doing. You didn't have anyone to disciple you in the ways of the Lord.
Right.
And so you were going the only way that you knew.
Right. And, still in the churches today, that's one of the things that we deal with in the churches today. We're all excited when somebody comes to Christ. We pat them on the back and we love on them and while they're there. But when they leave out those doors, there's no follow-up. There's no discipleship. And there's no mentorship. And we forget what it took and what we had to go through to get to where we're at. Mm-hmm. So out there now, it's intensified by 2 times. Mm-hmm. And that's how people fall through the cracks. It's easy. It's easy.
Right. Yeah, and I think some people are somewhat intentional about reaching those that have recently given their life to the Lord. to disciple them. But yes, in a bigger church, that can people can easily fall between the cracks and not have that discipleship and spend a life, maybe not spend a life, but spend a time not really having that guidance.
Mm-hmm. So past 18, I had my son when I was 19 or 20, my first one. Then 2 years later, I had another one, and I thought, this is good right here. This is gonna
Straighten you out,
right? No, it didn't. And so I began to dabble in other things, methamphetamines, and that right there, I liked that. I liked it a lot because I could stay up. I could constantly be moving. I do stuff and never have to stop. Mm-hmm. And that drug me down a whole different path than I thought I'd ever go. It took me to places I thought I'd never, ever be. And a lot of tragedy come along with that. My youngest son, when he was just 3 or 4, they were petting the horses, and he ran across the road, and a car hit him.
Oh, wow.
And when I come home out doing...
running around?
Yeah. He wasn't good. And I think about those times, and I tell people all the time, tell these young husbands and dads, always be good to your wife and your kids, because the way I treated them, the grief and you never get over that. Mm-hmm. I know it's been covered under the blood, but so when them little old boys were little, and I should have been there, and it's just a grief that you can't ever get past.
So did he pass away?
No.
Okay.
Praise the Lord. He's fine today. As a matter of fact, he worked for the same company I do.
Oh, wow.
And, it's come full circle. It could have went really bad. Mm-hmm. But I ended up getting a divorce. And I messed that up. And in 2019, I was doing things that I shouldn't have done. Mm-hmm. Messing with the drugs and stuff. And in 1993, there was an episode at a bar, and a man got killed, and they said I'd done it. We were all fighting in there, but anyway, they locked me up. I was 24 years old. That should have been a breaking point. And so I didn't know if I did or not. I was so inebriated, I was so drunk, I didn't know what I was doing. But it was such a big deal. Ronnie Huey, bless his heart, I love that man. Mm.
He was the sheriff at the time.
And he was. And I was getting so much backlash from this whole ordeal that he set me up with a polygraph test. And I took the polygraph test, and I passed it. And I told him, I said, man, I didn't do that. So anyway, fast forward to that right there. Jail after jail after jail after jail, running from, and all these times that I spent in there, that's the only time I really called on him.
Do you think that was because you really couldn't get to those things that you wanted, like the drugs and alcohol and doing the things that would get you in trouble?
Well, after about 3 days in there, you kind of get your head straightened out, and then you get to thinking. You get to thinking about the important things.
Yeah.
Family, God, what you going to do with your life. You know, we make all kind of promises in jail. But I remember being in there, and that's the only time I ever called on God is when I was in there.
Because your head was clear, right?
My head was clear. It was, you get to yourself and, be still and let him speak to you. But so in 1998, I went to my first trip to the Arkansas Department of Corrections in prison when I was 30 years old. And I spent maybe a year and a half in Bricky's, Arkansas, at Bricky's Penitentiary. And where that right there would usually break somebody, it was just comfortable to me. I got out doing the same thing. But there was something different this time. So in 2000, I was running crazy. In 2001, I met this girl, which is now my wife, Callie, and it wasn't good on my part. We began to date, and I mean, it's just, like we was together every day. And there was something about that was different from the rest of them. I was still doing what I was doing. And I was actually running really crazy at the time. And not only was I running crazy, I was dragging her with me. And I ended up getting locked up again. And I remember laying in that jail cell. It was in D cell 4. And I was reading my Bible. And I said, Lord, if you can do anything with this mess that I've created, I said, I'll live for you the best of my ability for the rest of my life. Now, Becky, was that another salvation? No. I think it was a complete surrender at that time. I knew when I woke up that next morning, something had happened. Me and Callie were dating, and she loves flowers. And I'm like, it's just a daggone flower. But I was laying in the door in that jail, and I opened up my eyes one morning, and I remember this like it was. There was a dandelion there with dew dripping off of it, about to drip off of it. And that's the first time I ever seen anything like that. That I was like, now I know what she's talking about. I started seeing things different. I started hearing things different. I started thinking things different. And that's where it began. I was still locked up. But I know that the reason why that I was locked up so many times, and the Lord allowed that, because now I understand that's where he was going to reach me at. It wasn't going to be outside those doors. It was going to be where he reached me at. The sheriff was Ronnie Baldwin, and I did not like that dude. Not because he had done anything to me at all, just because he was getting in the way of what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And I would see him walk down the hall, and I'd threaten him, open this door. And I was talk nasty to him. I would talk terrible to him. He would just look at me like, are you crazy? And I'm like, now I look back, and I don't understand what he was looking at.
Yeah.
Long hair, crazy. But there was another guy that was real instrumental in my life, and his name is Robbie Nelson. I used to work with Robbie, and he was on drugs just like I was, and he got saved. And man, he went to church at Church of God there, across from I guess the Methodist church, the school, yeah. And he would come and see me in jail, and man, I remember after I prayed that to the Lord, and he would come and see us, and I remember him coming in there, and I said, man, I'm done, and man, it just began, and I knew then that, man, I've got to get past this anger that I have for these people, because I was just angry all the time. And Ronnie Baldwin, the sheriff, just happened to be the one that I was really, really angry at. And finally, I was like, every time that I'd hear his name, the hair would stand up on my neck. If I could just get my hands on that guy.
Not because he did anything, but just because of his position.
Just because I had zero respect for authority, number one.
Yeah.
And that wasn't right. And the Lord kept dealing with me in that cell. Now, mind you, I'm still locked up. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I've got to make this right. And I began to write him requests to talk to him. And he'd just keep turning them down, which I couldn't blame him. But after about the sixth one, 6 weeks in a row, he finally let me come up there to talk to him. And I remember going in there, and I was like, he's like, what you done? I said, well, look, there's some things that's been happening. And I told him what went on. And I said, I'm not up here trying to get my sentence lowered or anything like that, because you know me better than that.
Because you like it in there.
Well, it didn't bother me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I come to apologize.
Oh, wow.
And he looked at me. For what? I said, for the way I've been. I said, I've got to get this out of here. I said, I'm angry at you, and I can't be that way. And he looked at me, and he said, you see his gray hair? I said, yes, sir, I do. He said, well, you put half of it in there. And we laughed. And for an hour and a half, I sat up there and I talked to that man. And we got done, and I started to get up. And he said, hey, would you want to be baptized? And I turned around and I said, I sure would.
Oh, wow.
And here's the funny thing. So there was 31 of us baptized, men and women, in a portable baptistry outside that jail.
Wow.
Guess who? They had to win progress there. Guess who was the chief editor there?
Who?
James Langston.
Oh, really?
Yes. I didn't even know this. So James was there, and he was going to take pictures of these people. Ronnie Baldwin was like, no, that's not the one. That's not the one. That's not the one. When I come out, he said, that one right there. I still got the picture of me on the front page of the Win Progress. I didn't know it was James Langston.
Oh, wow.
And so that happened, man, and it's just like something was happening in that jail. They would open the doors up. We were having Bible study in there. We'd go from different cell to different. It was just an amazing time.
Wow. What year was that?
And this was 2004 by then.
Okay.
And it was just, everything was going. So I had got in trouble, and they were trying to give me 60 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They were going to, my lawyers, they didn't even want to talk to me. They done had enough of me. And I remember this was before all this happened, before my surrender. That's what I was in there for. And I remember praying the night before court. I was like, Lord, you got to get me out of here. And it's 2:00 in the morning. I'm praying. I just let me get out of here. And it just like, what are you going to do when you get out of here? And I'm like, okay, I see. Mm-hmm. All right, I see now. I know you're in control. Whatever I've done, I'm going to have to pay for. I'm just going to trust you. The next morning I went to court. The prosecutor ran up there and he said, I'm going to give you one opportunity. He said, you either take 5 years or you're done. And I was like, sign the papers. And my mom was there and she was just crying. I said, Mom, you don't even know what went on last night.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I'm going to take my 5 years. And I went and done my 5 years as a born-again believer. And I took that opportunity to study His Word. And that year and whatever it was, I wouldn't trade it for nothing. Mm-hmm. I got to see God work in the prisons. But so I got out. And when I got out, me and Callie were still together. When I got out of prison, which was in 2005 and almost 2006, I got out and I got me a little place, got me a job, got me a little place to live. But when I back up to when I surrendered my heart to the Lord in jail, me and Callie were living together. And I remember calling her. I says, look, you're going to have to go back home. And I was thinking, this could be over with. Mm-hmm. But it didn't, because she made me want to be a better man. Even though I was like I said, there was something different.
Because you didn't want to be living together.
No.
Because you knew you shouldn't have been doing that.
I always did everything 100% whatever I was doing. Right. And if I'm going to do this,
be with her, do it the right way.
Right. And so I got out, got a job, everything's going good, proposed to her. And 2006, we were married. And it was another, another 2 years. And then Lily. But we were attending church at a Baptist church outside of town. And it was just a small church. And there were a lot of people like me that were in there. Mm-hmm. The pastor, I've known him all his life. We were really in a good spot. And I thought, I was talking about, Wynn Baptist, I think, was a sister church maybe. I forget how that worked. But I was like, man, I'd never go to that church. That church is too big. Man, I'd never go out of the country on a mission trip. You never know what the United States done to these people. Well, don't ever say that. few years later, I'm at Wynn Baptist. And there was another guy there that really was instrumental in the things that happened there. And that was, you probably know him, Kirk Owens.
I do know Kirk.
Yeah, he's something else. He's one of my best friends. I remember Matt was preaching, and we were attending church there.
Matt Pearson.
Matt Pearson, yeah. Mm-hmm. We were attending church there, and I was like, man, I never would have thought I'd be here. But I loved it. I mean, there was something about that place. I felt like God had led us there. Mm-hmm. And we were attending the church there, and I was just like, I was to the point like, God, whatever you want to do. I mean, I'm in a good spot. Mm-hmm. I feel like everything is going my direction. I mean, we're putting God first, and everything starts working out. And we was at a service, and man, it was just like the music had me tore up. There was something uneasy. I'm like, God, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. And then, a few minutes later, you got the 3 big screens up there, and it was freaking Kirk Owens in China. And I was like, no, I am not doing that. No, you've got the wrong guy for that. And I don't know if Kirk remembers this or not, but after the service was over, I went down to talk to him, and he seen me come, and he said, boy, what's wrong with you?
Had he not left for China yet?
He had come back. Okay. He had left and come back, so they had pictures.
Okay.
And he said, boy, you running? And I'm like, man, I don't know. And I talked to my wife. I was like, I just don't know about this. I said, I just feel, I mean, it was no doubt. Mm-hmm. And the next Sunday, we were there, and I just went up to Matt, and I was like, man, I think the Lord's called me to commit to a short-term
mission trip.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, good. And I didn't know anything about all that. Mm-hmm. And another guy, Jeff Gibson, mm-hmm. I love that guy too. Mm-hmm. He's a good man. And, I'm country as a cornbread cake. I don't know nothing about a lot of stuff. And so I committed, and I'm thinking, here's another thing. How am I going to come up with all of this money? Mm-hmm. I've got a wife at home with a baby. I'm the only person working. And it was like, this ain't. And then I called Kurt. I was about to back plumb out. He said, don't do it. He said, God's got it all. And, man, it was a few days later, Jeff Gibson called me, and he's like, hey, I ain't even got my passport yet. I've got to wait till the next week to get some money to get my passport. He said, hey, what are you doing? I said, oh, nothing. I said, well, what are you doing? He said, I got a check down here with your name on it for $212. I think's what it was for the passport.
Yeah.
I said, you got to be kidding me. So I went down there, and I went to sign for my passport, and he's like, well, it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks before you get it. 10 days later, they call me, hey, your passport. And I'm like, really? So all that being done, we're everything's in forward motion, man. I'm getting excited. I've got.
Now, had you committed to a certain trip, or were you just open to go to any trip?
I think it was a China trip.
Okay.
And that's where I ended up going, to China. But anyway, we were. I went down there to get this passport check. I went and signed it, got my check. Then went down there, got my passport in 10 days. And, man, it's all going my way. And I called Jeff Gibson, or Jeff calls me, and he's like, hey, I got some good news for you. He said, how much you like getting the rest of your money? And I'm like, well, dude, to be honest with you, I'm I might have to back out.
Because that was a pretty expensive trip.
Yes, it's about $4,000, something like that.
Yeah.
And I just didn't feel good about. I mean, I got a wife and a baby at home. Taking that money for a cause, but that's my way of thinking. I was taken away from them. He said, "Well," he said, "you don't have to worry about it because it's been paid in full." I said, "You're blowing me away right now." I said, "Are you serious?" He said, "Everything's good."
Wow.
He said, "We're waiting on your visa to be okay." And I'm like, man, I'm at work. We're working in Mark Tree and we're building a bridge over there. And man, I'm on top of the world. I'm telling everybody, man, I'm going to China. We're going down there. We're going to live with these people. We're going to share the gospel with them. I mean, it was just, I was on fire. And then guess what? I get another phone call from Jeff Gibson and I'm like, hello? He's like, what are you doing? I was like, nothing. What are you doing? You doing all right today? And I'm like, yeah. He said, well, I need to tell you something. He said, they denied your visa. And it's like you just let the air out of me. I said, what? He said, yeah, they denied your visa. He said, we're going to try again. And I just hung the phone up. And I was deflated. I mean, I was just done. And I was like, Lord, why have you provided everything? It got me to this point. You're just going to leave me right here? Of course, it didn't take long. All the pouting and stuff, how we get sometimes. And he's like, that's not the way I work. He said, I don't work like that. And I was like, I got it. Again, I got it. I know you're not done with me, and I'm sure not done with you. And you're in control. Whatever happens, happens. But I just wanted to get in that truck and drive off and leave the job site. And I didn't even know what, I was just so broke down. In tears, I'm like, why? And a couple days later, let's see, that was on a Thursday. I think that was on a Wednesday or a Thursday of that week. I went to church on Sunday. We went to church Sunday, and then here comes Kirk Owens. Of course, they knew all what was going on. They wasn't telling me.
Right.
Kirk's like, hey, we're fixing to go to Houston, Texas. I'm like, who? He said, me and you. I said, for what? He said, we're going to the consulate. I said, what the heck is a consulate? He said, it's a Chinese embassy. I said, what? He said, yeah, we're going to go down there and we're going to get this visa.
Only Kirk would do that.
And I'm like, okay. All right. When we leaving? And I think we left that after that church. Let's see, now was it? It was the next day. I think we ended up leaving. But anyway, so here we are.
Yeah, we're going to the
Chinese consulate in Houston, Texas.
To try to get your visa so you could go to China.
Right. And Kirk's, he's speaking Chinese, and it's crazy to me.
Which is crazy to see Kirk speaking Chinese.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, man, we're going to go down here. I don't even know what a consulate is. He's going to drag me all over this place. We go down there, and we're going to stay in a hostel. And I didn't even know. I said, what's a hostel, dude? What is that? I ain't never been a... Anyway, we go in there, we check in, and I'm like... And I see these girls walking around. I said, Kirk, that's the only bathroom we got. He's like, it's going to be okay. I said, dude, no. I was like, oh, my goodness. I was like, Lord, please. I said, that's all I need. And... But anyway, we prayed over the doors of the consulate that night. And the next morning we went down there, and there was a carrier there. He was getting a bunch of these visas, and we were talking. He's like, no, you ain't got the right paperwork. You ain't going to get it. And Kirk was gone to do something, and he come back, and he just tells us, he said, man, what's wrong? I said, this guy says I ain't got the right paperwork. So I'm on the phone with J.R. Smith trying to get some stuff. He was the sheriff trying to get some stuff because, they're all on board for this. Because they done seen a change in me that my entire life, just totally different.
So some of your charges might have been the reason your visa didn't go through?
Exactly, my background,
right?
My past, and the times I spent in prison and stuff like that. And I told Kirk, I said, they're not going to let me. He said, look, that guy don't know who we know. Come on. So here we go again, and we get up there, we get in there, and I don't know what Kirk's saying to him. But he eventually told me, he said, look here, I've been to your country. I got my friend. I'm going to show him your beautiful country. And they said, no. And they went pointing at this paper, and I was like, well, that's over with. No more. And he's like, they turn the mic off, and he gets on the phone. Turns the mic back on. He's like, we're going to give you 15 days, and you got 10 days to get there. And I was like, praise the Lord. I'm in there. And Kirk's like, calm down. And I'm like, I looked over at that carrier. I said, I'm in there. Praise the Lord. And so, man, everything worked out. So I go to China, and it absolutely changed my entire life. We spent 10 days down there. It was me, Kirk Owens, Mr. Bob Stanley, Steve Frisbee, Dave and Tanky Hill. Yeah, I think that was us, and Kirk.
That's a hard trip.
Oh,
that China
loved
trip.
it. Yeah. I loved it.
As far as the driving and just the getting around there.
It absolutely changed my entire life. And when I got home, man, it was like my feet didn't hit the ground for a month.
Yeah.
And then, you get back down to
get back
earth.
Into the routine.
You get down to earth and you get back in the routine with everything. But those were some really life-changing things that happened to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm still at Wynn Baptist, and I feel like God moved me there. Mm-hmm. And until he tells me to leave, I'm going to serve.
How is God using you in areas of working with people that have a past like you?
So I work for Robertson Contractors out of Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Mm-hmm. I'm a bridge superintendent. And normally people with my background don't get that, move up to that.
Right.
And so I have people coming in with all kinds of backgrounds, and people are like, oh, man, I really don't want to apply. I'm a felon. Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, look, don't worry about that. And I get these guys out here, and there's a couple of them that still work there right now that I just ministered to and have come to know Christ or got back on the right track with Christ. And I was like, when Jesus told the disciples, you'll be my witnesses from Jerusalem to Judea to Samaria and to the ends. He was in Jerusalem when he said that. So I take it as wherever God has your feet at is your mission field. And I use that job as my mission field. And
because you travel, right?
Well, yes.
You're in different parts of the state?
Sometimes. So, and here's another beautiful thing. Is the company that I work for is really on board with the way I handle things. Mm-hmm. It's my job. My bridge, it's my construction site when I'm out there. And these guys that come in there, especially the young guys, you'll see them with all walks of life. You'll see them with tattoos all over their face. Hispanics that barely speak English, that are, it's just the struggle. And I can relate with them when they tell me things, when they come to work not feeling so good because of last night, and I'm able to say, hey, dude, I've been there. I know exactly where you come from. There's nothing good about what you're doing, man. It's just going to cause you problems. And I'm able to talk to them. And a lot of them see the way that I handle my job site. And you know what? It's all glory to God for when you do these things, when you invite the King into anything, it's going to go good. You may not see that it's good. You may not feel like it's good. But when he's involved in anything, it's good because he's good. And that's what I tell those guys. You think my job is to come out here and build this bridge, to provide y'all with what you need, and, make sure everything's safe. I said, you got it right. That's a part of it. I said, but this is my mission field. And my job is to tell y'all about Christ. And if I don't tell you, whether you like it or not, if I don't tell you, then I feel like I'm not doing my job completely. So, yeah, I use my job as a mission field.
Are you part of the jail ministry here?
I was. Me and Kirk and Dustin and them would go up there, yeah. I love that. I love that. It's just the not being able to be, has it shuts it down. It has done that a couple times in the past. Everything will go good, and then all of a sudden something happen, and then I'm not able to be there. I feel like if those guys, if I'm going to do that, I need to be 100% because that's what they expect.
Right.
And so when I can, I'll go. But there's a hole that's there. That's my passion. It's the jail ministry. I love it.
Did you ever think that you would be where you are today, back where you used to be? Did you ever think?
Not in a million years, Becky. Yeah. Not in a million years. I look back, and it's all God. You can't make that stuff up.
No, you can't do that on your own.
No.
You can't change your life.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't change. I hadn't got the ability to change what was changed. No way.
Because you had a heart change.
I had a heart surgery,
yes.
A big one.
And only God can do that.
That was a lifestyle for me. That was a lifestyle for me, that chaotic lifestyle, and I was comfortable in that. And no, I can't see, you can't make that stuff up, because what I come through when God absolutely just moved in and he took over, and I said, here you go. I can't do it. When I prayed to him that night in that jail, when I said, I'll live for you the best of my ability for the rest of my life. I had a reputation that was, and you know what? I wasn't worried about that reputation. It was me and him at that time, and I was broken, and I was sick as anybody could ever be. And for the first time in my entire life, I got a glimpse from the outside in. And I didn't like that guy at all. I didn't like that. You're talking about a guy that's been in and out of jail his whole entire life, charged with a first-degree murder charge, bunch of assault, battery charges. That's just a total wreck. A total wreck. And God put that back together to what it is now. You can't make that up.
Yeah, looking at you, it's hard to believe that that was who you used to be.
I get that a lot.
Yeah.
I get that a lot. It's a good God. He's a good God. But I think a lot of it is a good woman will do that too. Mm-hmm. And I love my wife, and I love my kids. I'd die for them.
Tommy, thank you for sharing your story with us today.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you have a favorite Bible verse you'd like to share with us?
I do. Philippians 1:6. He who began a good work in you will perform it till the day of Jesus Christ. He's not done with us. He's not. I don't care what you've been through. You matter. I don't care where you think you're at. You matter to him. The smallest things that we think that don't amount to anything matters to him because he loves his creation. He does.
Thank you for joining us today. New episodes release every Wednesday, so be sure to subscribe and get notified when a new episode is available. You can listen on the Journey to Salvation website, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. So, where are you on your journey to salvation?